Hello, Ashley. This is my response video to your contest. Now, as you know, I do many different things, but one thing that I don't usually do in front of people and on camera is play with bugs. I love to research. I think that's my favorite hobby, is to find out why. If I had gotten a PhD, I would just be in heaven, being able to have my own lab and research anything I wanted. But instead, my life is my lab. And in the house, I showed you this the other day, I have a jar of oatmeal. Now, in this jar of oatmeal, I'm going to show you how I research. I find something unusual. Now, this was a jar full of oatmeal, and what is unusual about it is that something is now living inside it. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but these white areas have worms inside of them. Now, this one you see is right up against the jar, and you can see a green thing in there. Now I am outside, so now I can open this up. I was looking at this the other day. Look at all those little worms. Now the animal that does this is a fly. It's a mealy bug, I think they're called. And somehow they've gotten into my jar. See, if the seal is not completely shut, even though it seems shut, if it's not completely shut, then they can get in. So look at what we have. Now this was all attached to the lid, so we're now looking into their cocoons. Now it's very cold out here. I'm in the teepee. I was going to bring something to use like pinchers, but now look at here, down into these holes. You can see where they've lived. It's not just a mess. This almost looks like rice, doesn't it? But these are their little cocoons. And I believe when they emerge from these cocoons, they will change into butterflies. Now you see this whole area there, how it's all come away from the side? See, I think it was all against the side tightly like this. But as it has come away, I think it has opened up their home. Okay, so now I'm going to open this up just a little bit so we can see inside. Look at how this is home to so many little worms. Isn't that amazing? Now they're all alive. You can see their little brown heads moving. And if you compare these to maggots, maggots are exactly the same, only they're white instead of green. Now when a butterfly, before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, it has to make some sort of a house like this to live in. This reminds you of wraith, doesn't it? This is quite tough. I have to pull it very hard. Can you hear it? This is really tough. I've never seen a jar that's so packed with this. Look at that. The lining went all the way up alongside the inside. And what the parent does is they get just up underneath the lid, just up under the edge, and they lay their eggs. And then, just like with the monarch butterfly eggs, those eggs are so tiny. They're like, you could fit one or two on the top of a pin. I guess one on top of a pin. Well, those are going to grow to be monarch butterflies, right? But these are going to grow to be these little tiny moths. So their larvae are probably, well, so much smaller. And so those eggs can be laid around the edge of the lid, and then when those little tiny larvae hatch, they can crawl alongside the lid and get up under the littlest tiny opening. They might even be able to create an opening in the seal. I don't know how they work that. I haven't studied that. See, this is an old lid, and so the seal might not have been all that great, right? But all they had to do Now, are those the eggshells? Is that what those little dots are? Can you see them better on there or on here? I think that those are the eggshells. And the worms have walked beyond there. Here's one little one. And then as they ate the oatmeal, they grew. And they got bigger and bigger until it was time to build a cocoon. Look at this cocoon. Look how perfectly it's made. It's quite thick and rather tough. You can hear it land. Listen to this. And that's heavy with these little worms, which are all going to turn into fruit flies. Now look at how they've burrowed. They've built their cocoon. I don't know if they must each have had part to do with this. Now it looks like these have come out of their little cocoons, whereas along the edge here, see if I can do this without wrecking anybody. See, along the edge, you see how they look like rice? And inside of each of those, if you look carefully, you'll see inside each one is a little tiny worm. And so what they're doing then, see here? You see them inside that? Okay, I'm bringing this out just so I can show you how they live in this like rice. So they've each got a spot in there. Now let me see if this is as thick as paper. It's amazing. Now they each have their own little spot in here. You see this? And when it's time, they come out of those. And I think when they come out as a butterfly. The little moth, the mealybug moth. Let's go deeper in here. See how that looks? This is quite a layer of stuff on here. Let's see if I can, should have gone and gotten this. It's quite tough. Listen how it's pulling the jar. Oh my goodness, look at this. Isn't that amazing? Okay, let's see if we can lift this out without squishing anybody. Okay, so this is what they built. Oh my gosh, you know what this makes me think? I have 200 jars of food in the basement in that little thin crawl space. And if they have ruined this entire jar of oats, what have they done down there to the other jars? They're not oats necessarily, they're wheat and everything else, rice. Okay, so now let's look at this stuff. So they have, well, now look at this one. See how it's black and brown? I think that's its chrysalis. I think that it has, I'm not sure how this is working. Can you figure this out? Now look at all these little dots. Now would they be digested bits of oatmeal? Now I think if you take some oatmeal, where it's clumped together, if you look inside the clump, you may find a little worm in there. But it could also be that they've all gone up to the top. See, I've got a few worms here now. Of course, were they there before? Let's try this again. We'll take a clump of this and put it over here. There's no worms here, okay? And let's just see what's in this. See if they have clumped together. Sometimes they'll just pull it all around themselves. No, this is empty. There are no worms in that. So this is all, would you consider this then to be digested and pooped out oatmeal? Now this is a solid mass. Let's see if there could be somebody in this. Come over to this spot that has nobody there. You gotta go very tenderly so we don't squish anybody that could be in it. Ah yes, I see something. Look at this. Is that a piece of oatmeal? Yeah, that's a piece of oatmeal that didn't get completely eaten. See, this is what I like to do. This is my hobby, is to investigate things and find out what they did. So that is my response video of what I like to do best.